On and out sport, it's your modern day Jay Gatsby, Anthony Farrow. What is up, guys? What's gravy in the Navy and little babies? English class. Today, we're going to be talking about wealth, poverty, and slavery. These things are all connected throughout the books that we've read this year, and I'd like to share it with you. So, I'm going to start. Let's start off by talking about The Great Gatsby by Fitzgerald. So, you can say that Jay Gatsby is very, wealthy physically. He has a ton of money. He could buy things. He could have basically whatever he wants. But you could also make the argument that Gatsby is also rich in the sense that he's able to experience new things and stuff that he wouldn't be able to experience if he did not have that money. So he gets to have these great parties, he gets to have these cool cars, and drive him around really fast and do things like that. Just have life experience and be able to travel wherever he wants and be able to go wherever he wants and be able to basically purchase whatever he wants. But the real question is Jay Gatsby emotionally wealthy? And what I mean by that is that because he has all those experiences and because he has all this physical money, he gets to purchase whatever he wants. In that sense, he doesn't really have an emotional connection with any of the other characters in the story previously until Nick Carraway comes into the picture. In fact, Nick says in the story that he thinks that he's Gatsby's first friend. It shows that Gatsby doesn't really talk to anyone or know how to act around people like that. When he goes on the tea date with Daisy, he doesn't know how to act. He's not used to being in a social date setting like that. And also, when Gatsby obviously dies at the end of the story, no one shows up to his funeral, doesn't really have anyone there for him. And I think that's why he just, comes around Nick unannounced and, just asks him to do cool things. I think that's one of, Gatsby's first friends, after he made all this money and kind of lost everything. He still found Nick. And I think that's why he's physically wealthy, but I don't think that he's, emotionally wealthy in that sense as well.
That makes you wealthy, other than the money, is to believe in yourself and to respect yourself. Self-reliance makes us wealthy because believing and honoring yourself makes you a better person. His wealth isn't in the money, it's about his opinion of himself. A quote Emerson states is, "In every work of genius we recognize our own rejected thoughts. They come back to us with a certain alienated majesty." And in this quote it states that he shouldn't reject his own thoughts and that he should believe in himself because that makes himself feel more worthy. Self-respect makes one wealthy, and one needs to please himself and trust their individuality to satisfy themselves and make themselves happy. Another quote Emerson states is, "It is easy in the world to live after the world's opinion. It is easy in solitude to live after our own, but the great man is he who is in the midst of the crowd keeps with perfect sweetness the independence of solitude."
Wealth besides money. What makes you valuable besides the possession of money? I would say three things: self-worth, values, and a strong mind and body. In the letters to Peter Carr, he gives Peter a whole long agenda of essentials to becoming a more wholesome man. He touches on all aspects of life. He talks not only about the physical changes he can make to his life, but also the mental changes. He says things like, give up money, give up fame, give up science, give the earth itself and all it contains, rather than do an immoral act, and never suppose that in any possible situation or under any circumstances, it is best for you to do a dishonorable thing. He is basically saying it's better for you to have strong virtues and do the right thing than have fame and fortune. Along with having a strong mind, he also includes references to having a strong body. He says, for health must not be sacrificed to learning. A strong body makes the mind strong. And also, while this gives a moderate exercise to the body, it gives boldness, enterprise, and independence to the mind. He talks about having strong values and becoming a wholesome man, and also learning to love your enemy. He says, husband well your time, cherish your instructors, strive to make everybody your friend, and be assured that nothing will be so pleasing as your success. This makes him wealthy besides money because he has a strong personal characteristics to himself. He has strong virtues and values and a strong mind and body. This makes him a more valuable person besides the possession of his wealth.
In the narrative of a life of an American slave, Frederick Douglass shows us how slavery and poverty essentially go hand in hand. He states, "I have no accurate knowledge of my age." And he also states that slaves know as little of their age as horses know of theirs. This dehumanization shows how being denied your rights and freedoms essentially makes your worth in society and value just out the door. They work long hours for difficult labor for no reward also. They're also not even viewed as humans. They're viewed as just property, which shows how they're denied their rights and their freedom. Also, in chapter 3, George, who's a slave himself, states, "What's the use of living? I wish I was dead." This shows how the long hours that slaves worked in the fields and the horrible working conditions and for no reward had a huge detrimental toll on the slaves, where they didn't even view their lives as worth living. Now, on the other hand, what does it make someone poor? Well, obviously, for starters, it's the literal and physical lack of money. And also, it's when someone is denied their freedom and their rights, along with lacking worth and value in society. In the book, How the Other Half Lives, we see the physical and literal lack of money have its toll. It shows the effects that not having money has on the children and the homes and the living conditions there. It shows how kids lived only about 2 blocks away from the Brooklyn Bridge, and they weren't able to see it. That shows how being confined to such a small area and not being able to escape their literal surroundings and their class in society shows that they can't even escape their neighborhood just to see historical sites in history.
Yeah, that's perfect. Feeling better than I ever felt. Feeling better than I ever felt. Why, thank you. Feeling better than I ever felt.